Oh, well, welcome on in, folks, to the Pegasus Actual Podcast. We are floating tonight without some of our crew. It's been a rough day apparently for a lot of people, and it's understandable. Life happens, and we totally get that. I've had a rather rough day myself. I'm hoping those of you out in the chat can please send prayers and good vibes. My mother's currently in the hospital. She had a stroke this morning, and I could use all the prayers and good vibes folks can muster out there. It's been an incredibly rough day, so I apologize if I seem a little out of it, maybe not on top of my game tonight, but I am going to do my darndest to be be there, and have a great stream for you guys this evening. And Time Prophet, thank you very much for the wonderful comment. Um, but I want to introduce my co-host, the wonderful, the beautiful, my esteemed, like one of the best friends I have in the whole wide world, and just the 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 main cog of this show, and that is Raquel Briggs. So happy to have you back on, Raquel, and in the CIC where you belong.
Well, thank you for that warm welcome. And I feel the exact same way about you. I love you very much. And I'm so sorry that things have been going this way for you. And I know that that's why sometimes we have the show and sometimes we don't. And I just want everyone at home to know that it's been a roller coaster ride of scares for you. So hopefully, everything is going to be okay here. I'm also a person who doesn't pray, but, I'm sending you and mom all of my love and support. And it's a very scary time. We're all at an age now where our parents are quite aged, they're in very advanced years. And scary times. And you've been a very good son to your parents. And I'm sorry you're going through this.
Yeah, well, I thank you very much for that. It's been pretty rough, and I'm just trying to do my best to kind of put one foot in front of the other. Tony, be safe driving home. When you get home, hopefully that thing's there in your email. If you can jump on, and also I have returning. We have Scott, just another normie. He's
Hey,
he's
sorry
got
about
a he's got a great channel, and
that.
we're.
Don't tell nobody.
But thank you for coming in, especially on short notice, my friend.
No worries.
We were down some folks tonight. Like I said, Stephen has some work things going on. Culture has definitely had a rough, day. He's had some work stuff happening. So, yeah, it just wasn't meant to be with some of our panelists tonight. And, dude, for you to step in on short notice, again, thank you so much, my friend. And
No worries, man. I just got home from work 25 minutes ago. Scarfed down dinner and came on here.
Scuba Pete is in the house. Look who just walked through the door. A guy who I just absolutely love. Scuba Pete! So good for you to be here. And Parrot Head. And look at the chat is starting to fill in. It's so nice to see everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight and supporting Drew's show.
Geeks enjoy Neurotica Pixels. What's up, my friend? Good to see you. Thanks so much, guys, because right now, I can say that being around friends is the best therapy of all. So thank you. I can't begin to thank you enough. So I appreciate that. So tonight's episode, we're going to talk about unfinished business. This is one of my personal favorites of season 3. There's a lot of
So
stuff.
you all at home, you know which direction the ratings are going. He said earlier that he's a little off his game. I think he might have tipped you off here as to how things are going to go with his commentary, but don't count your chickens before they hatch. Drew could have a very complicated answer.
No, I'm gonna shill for this episode
Okay.
because it is one of my favorites. I know on the IMDb ratings, I think this one has somewhere around the out of about 1,900 ratings, it's averaging about a 7.5. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see if it's in that territory, but yeah, I will shill for this episode because I really do like it. So that said, how about we get into it? Oh, and Scott, by the way, because Raquel wasn't on. Raquel wasn't on the week you were here.
Mhm.
She is the undisputed she's the queen. Okay, she's the queen, and like she has, dude. When you hear the detailed notes that she has in just the way that this thing flows, I mean, it's so awesome. So just buckle up, brother, because it's going to be great. So
It's nice to meet you, Scott, and that is an incredible preamble. I love you, Drew, but you know who just walked through the door? Mark
Thank
D
you.
with a C and
Hail.
Toxic Man Flu, TMF, my baby. Mwah, mwah. Hello, Dr. Hercumonkey. It's so good to see you. The whole crew is rolling in. It is so nice for you guys to come in and support Drew's show. I'm so happy to see you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, hail Mark D with the C. I've seen you in some of the other chats that we frequent together, and Tox. It's always good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the well wishes earlier today. Brightest day, dude. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, good to see you.
This really does mean the world to me, y'all, and I'm not trying to be emotional, but yeah, it really does mean the world to me, you guys. Thank you so much. All right, Raquel, let's go ahead and get into the episode. Let's start in.
Okay, so if you're at home and you've been following along, sometimes we run the show infrequently. So let's just give a little update here. We're on Unfinished Business, which is season 3, episode 8. And we don't really give out any spoilers. We really, truly do walk you through a full summary of the show. So if it's been a while since you haven't seen the show, don't worry. That's okay. Saddle up,
Raquel,
lock and load.
Remind them too. So the way that we did season 3, because in some places, when at the beginning of season 3 they count like Occupation and Precipice as one episode.
Yes.
So when you guys are going to see the video, if somebody watches this on the playback, it will be marked as episode 9, and even on IMDb this is marked as episode 9.
Yes.
So technically this is episode 9 of season 3, but it could also be considered episode 8, because I know when on Peacock they have it, or on some of the other places that
Amazon
you can watch
Prime. The streaming services have been breaking them up or sealing them together. So depending upon what streaming service you have. Also, guess who just walks through the door? The Lady Mist. Welcome. It is so
Welcome,
good to
Lady
see you.
Mist.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's get it on like Donkey Kong. Okay.
Let's go.
We open with some good old-fashioned pugilism. The dog tags are tossed into a kitty while Hilo and Apollo have a proper sweaty fisticuffs. A sweet and deadly right by Hilo sends the viewer into Apollo's head as he experiences a standing knockout, followed by flashes of memories of Starbuck and Duala. We cut right to another scene. to another sweaty match. This time it's Starbuck and Anders having a roll in the bunks. But when Anders becomes tender and intimate, Starbuck shoots out of bed and dresses. Anders says, "Glad I could have been of service." Then we cut and we flash back to Lee. And of course, Lee is getting his ass kicked. We cut back to Anders telling Starbuck he wants to repair their marriage, but she shuts him down hard and walks out. We cut to Starbuck beaming in the nosebleeds over the ring. She too flashes to intimate moments with Lee. She hurries up to Hilo's ring corner opposite of Lee and claims delight at seeing the keg getting his ass kicked. The fight resumes as we're shown the stands. Doc Cottle is shadow ducking and dodging in his seat. Dwala walks into the arena with the old man. In a stunning reveal, we enter Lee's mind as he flashes to Anders and Starbuck on New Caprica. He's using his jealousy to fuel this fight. The rage rises, but it's all for naught. Hilo knocks Lee to the canvas, and Cottle calls the match for Hilo. He exits in a huff, and Starbuck teases him about it. He goes to pull his tags from the lineup kitty. Kara seductively places hers in. Dwala watches this too close and too openly sexually charged exchange. Lee puts his tags back in the box and stomps off. The sexual tension and frustration is obvious to everyone. And then we cut to the opening credits. So how do you feel about this rocky, crazy... Well, it's almost like pugilism in itself. We're celebrating pugilism, but the presentation is pugilism. It's just all boxing. What did you think of this gigantic opening, Drew?
Well, yeah, there's obviously ginormous tension between like Starbuck and her husband. Well, you could clearly see that, because
Anders isn't the first Steely Dan amongst all the Steely Dans, because Starbucks does this to men, right?
Yeah, and I like the whole idea of the crew doing the whole boxing thing and everything. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a cool way to blow off steam, and I thought I thought it was something very human to do, most definitely. The thing that I found though with Starbuck, particularly with this, is you have to remember, like, since and I go back to where we were doing collaborators. She has been in this crazy funk. She's been she's just been in this weird self-loathing phase where she's
it really shook her to have that toaster tot and then the toaster tot. And I think it really screwed her up, and it really, I think it set her back and made her reconsider her entire life. What is this marriage with Anders? Where's it going?
It fracked her in the head big time.
Yeah. Oh, completely. She's totally fracked. And we can see it in her behavior, because she always becomes overly sexual, erratic, and violent, and likes to, tie one on every time she gets into this position. It's just who she is.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, Scott, what was your
in all honesty, I really didn't care for this episode and stuff. I know the whole point of it was to kind of blow off steam between different factions within the crew and to kind of boost morale and stuff, but overall I thought it was a filler episode, to be honest.
No, listen, that's fair enough, brother. I and that's a beautiful thing about this show, is because there's a lot of times where the panel will have differing opinions, and I'm glad that you bring that to the table, dude. Whereas whereas with me, like I said, I'm openly shilling this episode, and you have
you go, Drew. Chill it away, man.
and you have the opposite opinion, and that's awesome, because we could see both sides of it, and that's what's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So All right.
I got you.
Yeah. So, Raquel, if you want to continue.
So after the credits, we're flashing back 17 months ago on New Caprica. It's Duala and Lee taking a stroll 8 months before the Cylon occupation. Duala confirms her transfer orders to Pegasus, and while she hugs. Oh, I made a mistake in my notes here. Wow, I shouldn't have had wine that night. When she confirms her transfer orders, I just put a really cheeky note here about how Lee is hugging her like a sibling. And the happy and hot and heavy Anders and Starbuck approach. It is extremely awkward. They try briefly to shoot the breeze, but Starbuck throws her arm around Duala, and they presumably chat about an upcoming settlement party. We go to another scene. We pick up with Rosalind and the old man, same time frame. Rosalind approaches Adama sporting his 1970s porn stash and his 80s playoff hockey beard. Or as hockey hair, I'm sorry. They have a grown-up flirting session. Then we go back on Galactica, present time, ringside. Rosalind approaches Adama to discuss the fight. Then we go to another scene. We pan over to Lee getting his shoulders rubbed by his wife, and then to Kara wrapping up. So she's putting wrap on if folks at home aren't familiar with that term. Two nobody heavyweights are going at it. We rejoin Rosalind and Adama. He explains the ritual of the match as the dance, a way for everyone to blow off steam and settle grudges. In the ring, we have a knockout and one-eye tie. The ref calls Hot Dog into the ring. Rosalind asks Adama if he's in the kitty. He says no, just as Hot Dog calls Starbuck as his opponent. She gloves up. The bell rings. Starbuck lays into Hot Dog, all the while imagining her sexual relationship and frustrations with Lee. She knocks Hot Dog out. So I'm going to stop there just to talk about this for a minute, because, one thing that I do have to say, some people who are familiar with this channel know that when I was quite young, I married into a Greek family, and in that Greek family, well, in Greek culture in general, you're expected to completely assimilate into the culture and convert. So one thing I do know is that, when we're looking at this show and we're looking at this Greek culture that they're using, I was surprised that this was boxing and not pancration. But what's really funny is that when Starbuck gets into the ring, it is pancration. She goes full MMA. So they're gloved up, but it's not MMA gloves. It's boxing gloves. But did you notice, she really gives it to Hot Dog, and she even puts him in a clinch at one point, Muay Thai clinch, and
This is one episode with Starbucks. I love Starbuck in general and stuff, and I don't mind the gender swap because I love Katie Sackhoff. I think she's just a phenomenal actress. But in this show, this was her first real, long-term gig. You know what I'm saying? But the way she portrayed the character, and in this episode, dude, she was just straight up badass.
Yeah.
And stuff, dude, kicking ass. And that's what Starbuck was. And dude, you she might have been a chick, but dude, then she was, yeah.
Brightest day in the marquee, just killing it. Why am I just now wishing Starbuck and Duala got it on? Yeah, that would have been that. I'm telling you, I think Duala and Starbuck, it would have been like Nunez and who could we put as an opponent? But these two, obviously, they realize that people have been, somebody's got their bed under, or their boots under the wrong bed, and so watching them settle it up would have been crazy.
On Duala and stuff, this is where I kind of like this relationship twist that we start to see with Adama and her. But I absolutely loved her too, and I think in a lot of ways she was really underutilized over the entire the entire show and stuff like that. And she was a beautiful character. She was a great character, and the way she went out, no matter if you agree with her or not, she went out like a boss. And stuff, and it said so much,
Mhm.
But we're not
So
going to do any
I
spoilers on
know.
this
Yeah,
show.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
Spoilers
yeah.
on the show. However, I will say this, that it's a testament to the actress herself. I mean, let's face it. This was a
Absolutely.
teeny tiny little
Absolutely.
part, but she
Yep.
played it in such a
Mhm.
powerful and meaningful way that she made the part far more important than it should have been.
Absolutely.
And it showed
She
her
really
acting
portrayed
chops.
that.
It
She
was
really
really
portrayed it. Yeah.
yeah, it was a very
Yeah.
forgettable character, and she
No, not
just
really. No,
she
I don't
made
think
it
so.
incredible. No,
No.
I mean, when we
Oh.
look at old Battlestar Galactica, and
Oh,
we
I
look
got
at the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
that things,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
she brought to this
Mhm.
character, she turned it into a fully fleshed character, and
Yeah.
you have to respect that, because this should have been a teeny tiny part, and she made this part count. She made it matter.
Absolutely. Yeah, and she was too. She really was.
Toxic man flu, aka
Oh, no,
Starbucks
tell me
toxic
those.
strap on.
Is that toxic?
Yes, it is toxic.
Oh my
Of course.
god, dude.
Of course. It can
Oh,
only be
toxic. You were the best.
TMF.
Oh man.
Mm.
I gotta love
Yeah.
TMF.
I do love him.
But we got a discussion going on in the chat. Time Prophet brings up those old pilot helmets from the first series. And yes, Time Prophet, just to touch on, I did like that use in the first series. And I think when we get done looking back at the Ronald D. Moore show, Raquel and I were discussing today, we're probably going to take a look back at TOS Galactica. And we will get more into that, but I will say the use of the contrast in themes and the use of the Egyptian mythology a little more, I thought was really a really cool touch. And if you pay attention to like Razor and a couple things in this series, like if you watch the movie Razor, which if you go back and watch our review of Razor, you can see like there's little details in there, like when they show Adama during the first Cylad War, some of the flashbacks in there, you can kind of see that they have those Egyptian symbols on the colonial helmets, although it's just like really an Egyptian symbol on these newer sort of roundish helmets, which I liked the old ones. I did like the old ones better as well, but yeah.
Hey, Drew, when you bringing up all that and stuff, this is what really solidified this show for me, is their use of old Greek gods, Roman gods, and so on and so forth, and then the different colonies that were named after them. That's why I was kind of like attracted to Dwala. She was, I think, Sagittarian, I think?
Sagittarius. Yeah. She was Sagittarius.
And you remember, I don't know what that episode was, but I think it was in the past in which there was a doctor that was like not treating Sagittarians correctly or something like that.
Yes, we haven't gotten to that episode.
Sorry.
Look, Scott.
I know, huh? Yes, but
this is supposed to be for people to enjoy and watch with us in a linear fashion.
My bad. Jeez, man. But, I can't, I know, right? Ooh, I'll take that. Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
I'll bend over. Yes, absolutely. But no, I really, really appreciated
Hail Radicalized
all
Ryan.
that, though. Yeah.
Great to
look at that. Ooh.
Yeah.
Mark D. Oh, the Time Prophet. I love the Time Prophet. He's always on streams.
Yeah, Mark D with a C. 35 minutes past the hour says, as a kid, I wanted a Muffet. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, Raquel, poor guy. He has no idea the amount of like boxiness we've had on this show.
Yes. He would be horrified because he's actually like a super intelligent mega nerd. So Mark D with the C is way more than a geek. I mean, he's a geek in his own right, but he's also like a super nerd. So yeah, he would be horrified by Daggett this, Daggett that. He would probably run from the room. He'd be like, these people, they're just warped. Because I know when I first heard it, I was like, why are we doing this to this Daggett?
Well, look at wow, we have all the way from Brazil,
Oh,
from Rio de
lovely.
Janeiro, we have Fabricio who is watching us. So welcome, Fabricio. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Very,
Yeah.
very nice to have you. But yeah, oh God, Mark, do you want to see if you only knew?
Yeah, it's best that he doesn't know because I
Yeah,
was horrified at first.
Time Prophet doesn't know either. Oh
No,
God,
Time
these poor
Prophet, just
guys.
don't even go there. Don't even go there. I had to go through like a full cleansing session just to get them to stop doing it. And TMF had to help me. It was getting out of control. They were doing all sorts of things to Daggett, and I just, it was a face palm and a half.
Well, that means TMF is, and I'm sure like Brightest Day and the rest of the people that have gotten in on the gag are going to drop Boxy theories. Boxy theories will be incoming, I'm sure.
Yes.
So
Just as long as you keep it clean. Just try to keep it clean, folks.
Boxy is so cool.
It's I mean, come on, it's my channel. The odds of it being clean are probably less than 30%.
That's zilch.
Yeah. As long as you don't do anything bad to Boxy and you don't do anything bad to Daggett, I'm okay. Just don't do anything weird with them, folks. Or
now, what would you do?
There have been some things that have been said that literally made me go, okay, guys, if you want me to keep doing this stream, you can't say that kind of stuff. So kind of nasty.
Man. All right. So let's pick up where you left off there, Raquel.
Okay, so we're taken back to the groundbreaking ceremony on New Caprica with Gaius Baltar in charge. And he scoops up the ceremonial shovel of what totally becomes shit. He's an expert at shoveling shit. Everyone is alive, inebriated, and happy. So it's a full-on rollback. We enter the flashback scape of Ty's mind, present day and in the ring, as he remembers Ellen on the very same ceremonial day. They are like teens, filled with passion and hope. Then we switch to another scene. This is the pre-Cylon occupation euphoria, and it's self-same in Starbuck's mind as we join her flashbacks to these hopeful and fulfilling times while boxing her rage into the sparring gloves of Duwala. But this joy is complex, sullied by Starbuck's wandering eye for Lee. So here we're starting to get all these different flashbacks of this foursome and how they're all reading one another, and they know that there are sexual yearnings for one another. And for Duwala, like, it's starting to really sink in and become a dark cloud over her, and she's super crushed. So then we go to another scene. We join Adama and Rosalind in the flashback timeline. They're smoking some indigenous tobacco and drinking whiskey. Rosalind tells Adama about the pristine landscape and her dream to build a cabin in a remote area. Hope abounds. They're both inebriated and possibly stoned. So there are 3 quick scenes. I'm just going to stop there for a second and see if anybody in the chat has any feedback on that, and ask what you think of this, Drew.
Well, yeah, you can see the strain on both marriages, and you can see clearly that there is some coveting of thy neighbor's wife, if you will, and some coveting of thy neighbor's husband, and that is that's the thing, and it's funny because you'll see it coming later on, and here I am jumping ahead, and I'm not trying to jump ahead. I'm just saying you will see the pattern forming here in this episode, but you can see that because the old misery loves company standard, where Anders and Duwala build a little bond because they both know they're not stupid. They know that their spouses have a thing for each other. They know that.
And oddly enough, that's actually a pretty common theme. We see this. I mean, we saw the same thing happen with a headline catching example of it happened with Shania Twain. She was married to
Mm-hmm.
Mutt Lange, and they had their friends, and it was her very best friend in the whole world and his very best friend in the whole world. And then suddenly they wound up literally switching partners, swapping partners,
Yeah.
and it was and they wound
Well,
up, I think both wound up getting married. But just that realization, it's just very sad. It's very sad
oh
for
yeah.
Dee. It's super sad for Dee.
Oh
and
yeah,
and it's really
yeah,
sad for
definitely.
Anders too, because he's totally in love with Starbuck, and there was a time where she craved that intimacy, that sexual,
Yeah, but
emotional, and intellectual intimacy with him.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's been totally cut off of it. Now he might as well just be any other Steely Dan, and she'll use you, she'll ride you, and then she'll throw you in the ditch. And that's happening here to him, and it's horrible. I feel terrible for him.
Yeah.
I never really believed that relationship between Anders and Starbuck and stuff. I just
What?
felt it was a convenience. That's all it was.
What do you mean? Why would she go back for him if it was just convenience? There they were. They were the resistance.
I think it was.
I
think it was for a short time and stuff. Maybe the allure of who Anders was and
I
stuff
think
like that.
what
I think it was. It wasn't something. I think it was just kind of spur of the moment, heat of the passion, liking the game of the fight and stuff like that. And I in a lot of ways you can see Anders and Apollo in the same light. And I think because she could never really be with Apollo per se, she found what she was looking for in maybe Anderson. But going forward and stuff like that, I just never really believed in the relationship.
All right, I want to highlight this comment right here because Brightest Day really hit on something good. This is Brightest Day says, I'm a bit shocked there were even attempts at monogamous relationships in that small community. Any given pair of people could be separated in an instant. And that's a good point. He's 100%
Very
on that.
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know Time Prophet was like, he's definitely a TOS guy. I could tell. He said he said all Cylons should be made of metal. It was really cheap that they changed them into women. And hey, look, I get that because trust me, dude. And for you folks that are just coming into the show that haven't watched Pegasus Actual regularly, now. I have a history with BSG. Like when it first aired from the mini series on, when it took hold as a series, about I would say midway into season 1, I built a forum and website, and at first it was called Galactic Actual, and then we changed the name over to Pegasus Actual. But it had over 16,000 members at its peak, and we were the third biggest fan community online after sci-fi.com itself and another community called Ragnar Anchorage. So we had a very popular site at the time, and I was a huge BSG fan, as were all our members and the staff I had working under me to help keep the site going. And we would have intense discussions on our forums about this, and I know one of those was a lot of times, and you would see this back then on the old sci-fi.com forums as well. At first, when the show came out, TOS fans were very, very put off by it. They couldn't conceive of it, and they thought very much like it's almost like a precursor to what we go through now, because a lot of times we roll our eyes at, oh God, it's another gender swap, or it's another, this or that. And that it's because it's stupid virtue signaling. Well, back at the time, people were just pissed off in general because it was a gender swap period. They wanted traditional Cylons and the whole 9 yards. They wanted their traditional Starbuck. They wanted a traditional Boomer. But the cool thing was the way that the casting worked in this show, it made it work very well. And having the human model Cylons actually made it very compelling because it added an air of, anybody could be a Cylon. It added that sort of air of suspense, so you didn't know if there were infiltrators or what.
I love that aspect. That was a great aspect.
It really did.
Okay, well, I was giggling while you were talking, but if you know this show, you know that whenever I giggle, whenever I giggle when the panel is talking, it's not out of disrespect. It's because I always make sure that I watch my chat because I love you guys. And at 44 minutes past the hour, we have TMF up to his wondrous no good that I absolutely love. Drew, could you please deliver on this boxy theory, sir?
I better not take a sip of coffee because it'll wind up all over the monitor.
All over the laptop. Don't do it.
All right, boxy theory number 98. Trying to bring up the class of the Pegasus actual live stream, Boxy accidentally washes his mouth out with Gaius's Kamala soap and hallucinates pink dragons for days. That is great. That is great. That is absolutely positively
very
great.
Clever. Very clever.
TMF, that was awesome. Yes, Scuba Pete, exactly. And that was the great thing about this show was, the water cooler topics that it provided. You see, back then, this show was like an event when it came on during the week because the water cooler talk the next day would be about BSG. And this was almost like, remember, folks, when Game of Thrones became a phenomenon, well, BSG did that first. And this was before The Walking Dead. This was before Game of Thrones. This was one of the, early 2000s water cooler talk shows. And, water cooler event television shows. And that's what kind of gave rise to that. Because if you pay attention in sci-fi, they really tried to copy this formula that BSG had, and nobody could get it to work. It only worked for this show because they tried to do that with Stargate Universe. They tried to do that with certain aspects of other shows.
What they try to do with Stargate Universe you were mentioning?
I beg your pardon for 1 second. Please excuse me, gentlemen. I'm so sorry, but Stephen Ernest! Welcome.
Oh my God.
So nice to see you. Ernest. Love you. So glad that you showed up.
Scuba Pete.
Yeah, Scuba Pete is the best. And I just wanted to say further to that before we change the subject, that it's also very important when you're writing fiction, that you're making sure that your science fiction is always relevant to the present. So it just can't like you have to move it forward in order to keep it believable, and finding that sweet spot where you don't move it too far forward is difficult to achieve. And we see that in this mini series, because what we started to see was this development of an idea of robotics in real life and in a more modern science fiction where people would start to consider the sentience or the sentience of robots, and how human were they going to become. And so, when we were young and we were watching the original Battlestar Galactica, it was actually fathoming the technology to create a machine that advanced. And certainly when we reapproach it, we have to make it modern enough to make it compelling. And so we have to move the robot forward a little bit. And now we've got something that looks more like a cyborg. And so there are ways to play to that. And I think it's done to a good effect here. I don't think it's too much. I think there comes a point where you have to ask yourself if you're going to be in the remake or you're not. I was slow to come to the new TNG. I was slow to come to the new Battlestar Galactica. But once I gave both a chance, I was pleased with what I found. So just a note, because this show did start as a writer's room where it was all science fiction writers discussing on Pegasus actual podcast broadcast this exemplar of science fiction. So it's very important that those new Cylons are evocative of our latest robotic fears. And that can't be a toaster with a single eye dotting across an LED screen. It has to be something far more than that. So, and that's my take on it.
Yeah, and Stephen Ernest says, "Can I ask a question? As I'm fairly new to series." All right, man, we're waiting on your question, Stephen Ernest. Ask away, sir. Brightest Day alludes to miniseries. The miniseries really encapsulated all aspects of the show. I'm really enjoying the rewatch again after so long.
Oh, that's great.
That's great, man. Brightest Day is just getting into it. He's starting from the miniseries, going through the whole thing, and eventually going to catch up with us. And Time Prophet, who is rather critical, he still says overall I like the new one, but just not as much as the original. However, I think they were lazy with the uniforms. They looked rather like American military uniforms from Earth. And yeah, you are right about that, Time Prophet. They really did kind of go with that. And I think it was because they tried to stay grounded in like that sort of reality type of sci-fi almost, where it sticks to like real elements, kind of like Stargate SG-1 did and stuff with their uniforms. Try to make it very, very like ground level,
Enterprise was the same way. If you want to have that air of the military, and you want to drive that home, because you're going to be having a lot of science, of fantasy, not science fiction, but science fantasy, in order to keep that rigid structure up, so that people are cognizant and they're constantly thinking about this military aspect of it. Yeah, throwing on that very basic looking military uniform sure keeps that idea fresh and at the forefront. So I totally agree, Drew.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, folks, don't forget, there's a very different feel to old Galactica, because when you had, the old stuff with the Colonial Warriors, and, you got Lauren Green. God, Lauren Green was so good. It was entirely different feel, because that was more, they were shooting for sci-fantasy, whereas this was more drama. This was a straight, it might have had a science fiction backdrop, folks, but don't be don't be like, have any illusions that this wasn't anything but a drama. This was a full-on drama first. This was
it's Ronald D. Moore getting his way too, doing some stuff that we're about to see when we see DS9. We're seeing him flesh out some really weighty ideas in cleverly concealed ways. So we are dealing with this idea that one day we're going to have sex bots, and people will have a robot that looks identical to a Cylon, and you won't be able to differentiate a real person from a cyborg, and that will be having sex with them, and there are these ideas of war, and we talk about the Holocaust and World War I and World War II. Ronald D. Moore is very clever at bringing this stuff to the forefront and placing it in the Battlestar Galactica realm, in that imaginary sphere.
Question though on the Ronald D. Moore thing. Stuff, I know him well because I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and we all know that Star Trek, anybody who's ever worked on it and stuff, knows the restrictions of it. And I think what he put into Battlestar Galactica in general, you can really see a lot of the creativity that we could have potentially gotten in other shows that we didn't get in the Star Trek universe as well too. And I think the way that he presented BSG and stuff like that in the soap opera, drama, sci-fi realm and stuff like that, and then the people that he brought over were also a lot of the Star Trek alum that worked on a lot of the stuff there and brought him over there.
But it's important to remember that Gene Roddenberry was very, very opposed to even using the phrase space opera. That is not
Mhm.
what he
Yeah, I know,
wanted for
yeah.
the show.
Right.
He did not want anything dystopian.
Right.
He wanted something utopian. He was aiming for something to inspire Carl Sagan. He was aiming for something that would make Isaac Asimov respect him for
Yeah.
trying to implement hard science fiction in there
Mhm.
and keep it science fiction. Whereas
Yeah.
Ronald D. Moore, I think he wanted to go more, like Drew said, in this direction of drama. So I mean, we see it weave in and out of Star
Yeah,
Trek,
definitely.
and I definitely do love Ronald D. Moore.
Yeah.
But I will say this right up front with you, Scott. I'm a 66 to 05, actually technically a 64 to 05, and I stopped there. And I do think that unfortunately it was a decrescendo in quality. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
as much as I love what he tried to do and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I have an affinity for what Gene Roddenberry achieved with his epic IP, and yeah, and I try to keep them separate.
And Dead IP?
Yeah.
You mean Dead IP?
What's that?
I said,
Oh,
you
well,
mean Dead
I think
IP?
well, I think it's alive. I think it's alive for everybody who continues to celebrate
Yeah.
64 to 05,
There
and I
you
think
go.
Yeah.
that there are lots of people out there doing that.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
absolutely. And one thing, before we go on, because we are going to go on with the discussion, folks. We got little sidetracked, but in a good way. But the important thing here too to remember, one of the biggest themes that they brought up, and it's very relevant now, is technology outracing us. And don't forget, remember, if you pay attention to what's going on, all this stuff with artificial intelligence, you have the deep fake technology, you have all these things going on, and technology is racing at a breakneck speed right now. And you have to remember, at some point, where do we get into dangerous territory where technology can be superior over us?
And that's what we're entertaining here, and that's why
Mhm.
it's so important for us to move from the Cylon toaster, the Centurion with the gleaming metal shell, into something that looks more like Six. So yeah, and I think that that's super important. And a Time Prophet says, in real life, Gene Roddenberry was a bit of a womanizer, but he had an idea of the perfect world. He just hadn't gotten there yet. Well, I wouldn't support that rhetoric. In socio-historical context, my picture, I will warn you right now, I look a great deal younger than I actually am. My daughter is 29 years old.
You have a baby face.
And I can, yes, I do have a baby face, but I can definitely tell you that when I was growing up in a largely Judeo-Christian environment here in Canada, I longed to be able to show my shoulders and my belly button, and to be able to objectify men the way that they objectify women. So as a woman myself, I wouldn't call Gene Roddenberry a womanizer. I'd call him a man of taste. Anybody who can make love to Majel Barrett at the same time as they are making love to
Nicely
Michelle
stated.
Nichols is
Yep.
to me a king. And if I were a dude, I would want to have both those ladies too.
Yeah.
Nicely stated.
Yeah,
Spot on.
Unfortunately, I wasn't blessed on the look side, so nobody will ever objectify me, but I can hope.
Drew, you're a handsome man.
You are.
But yes, continue on, Raquel, and
All right.
you and Scott can rap back and forth, because unfortunately I need to step away for a second, but
You go
right
ahead,
ahead.
honey. Well, we got it all in hand here. Yeah, there he goes. Okay, all right. So we go back to the present and pick up with Galen ringside. Then we flash back with Galen and Adama, 18 months. It's Galen and Adama having a meeting about the birth of Galen's baby and Galen's desire to join the settlers on New Caprica. Adama, we learn, initially denied Galen and Callie's request. We go to the next scene. We're back in the ring. Kat gets knocked out, and Adama ringside champs at the bit. He asks Rosalind to hold his glasses, and he elects himself to the ring, calling Chief to be his opponent. Hilo tapes Adama up, while Chief's cutman listens to Chief pump his own tires about it being a joke, about Adama being an old guy. As Adama takes his mouth guard, Ty offers some less than encouraging words. Galen kisses Callie and enters the ring. Gloved up, the bell rings, and a smirking chief takes a heavy blow to the face, so hard, Hot Dog feels it. Galen is down. Adama says, "Get up! We're just getting started." This is when I hear the Miami Vice soundtrack playing in the background in my head. Adama lays the punches in bunches, and Galen flashes back to his grudge, telling Callie Adama denied his request. So it's very obvious here in these scenes that Adama has elected to pull Galen into the ring because they have this grudge that they need to settle. Any thoughts on this particular exchange, Scott?
To be honest, I don't really remember that scene and stuff.
Okay.
But Gaelic is the mechanic, correct?
Galen, yeah, Chief Galen, yeah. Cyril Galen.
I don't remember what their beef was and stuff. Like I said,
it was that Galen and Callie wanted to raise their baby on New Caprica.
Oh, that's right.
And Adama said no. He just said, "Look, like, I need you here. You can't go." And so they had all this unfinished business. And then, of course, we saw Galen and Callie's life unravel, and they were nearly killed during the occupation. So he has unfinished business, and the old man wants to help him work that through. So he pulls him up into the ring.
Right. Yeah. That whole situation, as much as I disliked the episode and stuff, it really reflected on a lot of individuals that had a lot of beefs with a lot of different people, and the tension, like I stated, and the morale of getting back on Galactica from, and all that stuff. So it's there's so much that was brought into this show. And so, especially when, like, they took everybody to that planet, New Caprica, knowing, and Baltar making the point that it was not, sustainable and stuff in long term because of how small it was and vegetation, blah 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 blah. And
they knew it was going to be hard, but I mean, heck of a lot easier than trying to terraform. And certainly if they were to allow the fleet to be out in space while they occupied the planet, the resources are there to go and find, especially if they jump right. Exactly, I think the most important thing was giving them a place to finally spread their wings and be human again, because it's very difficult living on a ship, and of course being chased by the Cylons, right? It's extremely difficult. At 1 minute after the hour, we have Time Prophet saying Raquel, during the production of his series, The Lieutenant, he entered into the relationships with Nichelle Nichols and Majel Barrett, seeking to have an open relationship with both women. You know what? I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know when the relationship began or when it ended. And the thing is of course, that's all based on what Nichelle has said. And she was the lovely person who came forward and said that she and Jean had a lovely time with one another. And certainly there are open, confirmed show notes and production notes that substantiate his affection for her in making sure that although she wasn't in the proper place in her union to have a major part in the show, that he protected her image and wanted to do wonderful things for her. And eventually he did choose Majel or Magel, however you want to say it. And I think that's marvelous. But let's get back to Battlestar Galactica, Time Prophet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hail, Kogi Pan. Thank you for coming in here, brother. I appreciate it. Great seeing you in the Bounding Live chat last night. And thank you for your continued support, my friend. Sorry I had to step away, folks. That was my mom was calling from her bedside, and she was just, kind of filling me in that they're doing more tests and whatnot. And she's got another battery of tests in the morning, and a bunch of doctors are coming in to see her and whatnot. And she's she's in trying to stay in good spirits, but she wants to come home in the worst way.
Yeah. Well,
You
I'm
know,
glad that I'm glad she at least got to make a phone call, and that that you two got to touch base, and
I'm sorry that completely forgot about it and stuff. I'm glad to hear she's doing okay. I saw it come across the Twitter feed and stuff like that. So I hope
yeah,
that she gets better soon. So
yeah. Okay, so time profit. And I know this is a sore subject, and I keep politics off this stream, but I will tell you, it's just the hospital's visiting hours are limited to 2 2-hour windows a day, 9 to 11 and 6 p.m. to or no, it was 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the afternoon, and it bugs me. It really does bug me because you know again, I have to pay the price to not be able to see my loved one because of the ridiculous overcorrection on this COVID thing. And I'm not going to get into that. This isn't the time or place nor platform for it on this program. But it frustrates me. It frustrates me a lot. But again, I'm going to make use of that window. I'm going tomorrow at 9 a.m. to see her, and we'll be able to visit then, and I'll be able to pass along all of your wonderful well wishes, and I know if my mom were here to see all these wonderful well wishes on the screen, it would fill her heart with joy. So
she will when she gets home. So
mhm.
everybody, if I could just ask you, please, to throw up mom in the chat with maybe a little rose or with a little heart.
just
And when she
Jim,
gets home, we'll be able to show this to her so that she knows that we were all pulling for her. And I know she will be delighted. Usually at around this time of the show, she comes down into Drew's office, and she's made fresh coffee, and she checks in on all of us, and I know she would really love that. So if you'd love to leave her a mom in the chat, I know she would just absolutely love it and appreciate you immensely.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. That's awesome. That's so awesome of you.
Oh, I love this. Hail Mama Heretic. Oh,
Oh, I
brightest
love
day.
it.
That's
I
great.
love it.
that's pretty good. I like that.
All
Yeah,
right.
we have a group. We have a very good crew here.
We do. I love the chat tonight. I'm just so very happy with everybody
Yeah.
that has come out tonight, man. You guys are so awesome, and and I want to recognize Tommy. Tommy reached out, and he and I had a nice talk on the phone earlier this evening. And Tommy, thank you so much, not only for modding, but just, dude, you're a very, very good friend, and I appreciate you, buddy. And just thank you so much, folks. Really do. All right, Raquel, if you want to continue on.
Okay, so we're back in the ring. Then we're ringside. It's Lee suffering from the poor me. I love two women quandary. Poor guy. Flashbacks and cheating hearts are played to a romantic tune. This is getting kind of weird. Then we're back in the ring. We enter Rosalind's mind, her romantic starlit night with Adama on a blanket, making adult types of love and confiding in one another. Then we go to another scene. Galen is getting his ass handed to him. Adama gives him a pep talk while he's down. It gets savage. Starbuck tells Lee, who is in earshot, that she wishes Lee were a real man, like his father. Well, in not so many words. Then we flash back to the celebration with Lee and Kara. Then back to Galen fighting Adama. The bell rings for the second round. Doc Cottle and Rosalind try to get Adama to quit, but Rosalind takes a supportive role. Surprisingly, she's like, "Get in there, you can do it," and I love that she does that. And then Adama reveals he's going to throw the match. And then we cut to when Adama granted Galen and Callie's request to join the new Caprica settlement for the baby's sake. So I'm just going to stop here for a second because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes really fast. And that's the way that this episode is set up. So before I get too far ahead of myself here, does anybody have any thoughts on these scenes?
Well, this was one of those episodes that utilized a lot of the quick cut type of edits, a lot of really quick moving editing in this one, and yeah, it sometimes in these episodes it's effective, and then sometimes it's flat out annoying. That's one valid criticism of when you watch this show. It can be off-putting at times, but it can be very effective at others.
I think that if they would have had a longer period of time so that the flashbacks could be glued to the character in a meaningful way, but the rapid fire of moving from one person's head to another person's head, and you're trying to figure out which timeline you're in, I think might be disturbing for some.
Toxic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Cuck Paulo for this one, because oh man,
and of course he is referring to the word cuckold. I'm
yes.
Of course he's referring to sleeping with another man's wife. So yes, cuckold is definitely going down here big time.
But the thing with it is, you could definitely see like there's some tension among a lot of people, and you could tell with the
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry to derail you, but baby, 13 minutes after the hour, brightest day.
Oh, this chat.
Babe, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please continue with what you were saying.
Oh, Jesus, this chat. But no, like there's definitely a lot of tension between crew members, and there is a lot of unfinished business, true to the episode title, because you can see these instances playing out in the ring. Even like Adama trying to sort of empower the crew, but even he has some issues with Tyrell. And
did he though? Because he admits that he's going to throw the match. So
yeah,
it's very obvious once he says that to Rosalind, like he totally signals to her that he's going to throw the match. So we know that he did this for Tyrell. He did this for Galen. And we know that he just wanted Galen to be able to punch the shit out of something, because we know that now Galen hates himself because he even asked to go to the new settlement, and then Adama said no, and then he pressed, so then Adama did say yes, and so now Galen is overwrought with this regret, of course, right? So yeah. It's really the old man taking one for the team, and in a rough and violent way, and it just shows how admirable he is.
Yeah,
he's an admiral, and
he's the admirable admiral.
Yes, that's correct. Right. So
hail to our good friend Wes Moody Webcast, man. Great to see you, Wes. Thank you so much for being here. It means everything. And yeah, you walked in at the very opportune or inopportune moment, depending how you look at it. Again, hello to Storyman Jack. Great to see you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, a good content creator in his own right. And yeah, Storyman, you need to go back and start watching the replays of these streams, man. You need to hang out in this stream on Thursdays more, dude, because this is right up your alley, because I know you're a BSG fan. All right, so yes, let's let's get back to
Well,
the.
let's ask Scott what he thought. You and I were like,
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know what I
Sorry.
mean? It's
Sorry,
like
Scotty.
when you and I are together somewhere, it's like we might as
It's
well
all
just have
good.
a bottle of wine and
all
just
good.
hash it out.
It's all right.
Anyway,
I was
Scott.
just paying attention to the chat and stuff and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
so.
Sorry, Scotty.
No, it's all right. You didn't
Dude.
need me on the panel. You got
No,
there you go.
no. I'm all. Listen, I'm all
It's all
over.
good. Don't worry about it.
I'm all over the place tonight.
He's just tired. His day started very early and very scary, so he's just
Who?
out of sorts.
Oh,
but
him? Yeah.
He
I
doesn't.
know.
He doesn't mean it.
gotcha.
He's very appreciative of you coming on the
No,
panel.
no. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't really have much more really to say. Really, I mean, what do you guys want me to say?
It just
help me here. Help me here. I'm getting a little tired. So
Okay.
well, I think the big opinion will drop when we get a little further into the next match in the ring, and that's coming. So.
It is.
Okay. Go for it.
So let's do it. Back in the ring, Adama is taking a shit kicking without fighting back. He wants Chief to let go of his pain. Adama gives a speech about dropping your guard on purpose and how it weakens and victimizes them all. It's a bloody and profound display. Chief returns to duty immediately. He just bolts out of the ring. Ty calls an end to the dance, quote unquote, the dance. Starbuck protests and calls their infidelity out. He punches her. They square off in a proper grudge match. Duala watches. Then we go to another scene. We flash back to Kara showing Lee her marital homestead. So they're walking one night on New Caprica, and she takes him to where they're going to, where she and Anders are going to build this home, her plot of land and her entire future with Anders. And then we go back into the ring. Anders and Duala are watching ringside. Then we cut to Lee and Kara cheating on their spouses. It's gross, but romantic music plays. Lee tells Kara that they need to confess the next day. He yells his love to the heavens, and he's naked as a jaybird. Kara does the same thing as well. They kiss and stare into each other's eyes. Back in the ring, they're brutalizing one another. Kara and Lee are kicking the shit out of one another. Back in the flashback zone, Lee is abandoned overnight. So back on New Caprica, when we're in this flashback, he wakes up and she's gone. I guess during the night after sex, Kara just walked back to the settlement. So Lee does the next thing the next day. And his father informs him that Kara Thrace has married Anders. And Lee is absolutely gutted. He sees Kara and Sam walking in the camp, and Lee is disillusioned. Then we go back to the punching. Then we go back to the post-nuptial catastrophe and congratulations. Then we're back in the ring. Then she asks, "Where's the beef?" Yeah, well, you know. Then back to Lee and Duala. And then we continue to flash in and out of Lee and Kara's complicated history. So we go back even further to when Kara was married to Lee's brother. Well, in a relationship with Lee's brother. And then back in the arena, almost everyone has left. Anders and Duala are watching Lee and Kara hugging, bloodied and broken in the ring. Anders leaves in disgust, but Duala stays looking on, and she is crushed. Lee and Kara say they missed each other, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny, like when they're slugging it out in the ring, like I don't know if they noticed or not, but Jesus, man, Katie Sackhoff in them dungaree pants, man, she's got like quite the plumber's crack going, so you can basically they're hanging square off her ass. if they were like any lower guys, you would be seeing like her JJ, and it's like holy cow, you know, the brown-eyed be winking. But
oh my, did you just say that on air?
Yes. You know, I got no fear. But
well, that is fearless.
But yeah, you know, it was quite interesting. And the thing is, I am a person. Listen, I've run into infidelity before. When I was engaged.
How do you mean that you ran into it?
Well, I've had it done to me.
Oh, okay. Because usually when men run into infidelity, it's usually anyway.
And look who made it in. Tony made it in. Hello, Ruth Korean.
The roof is on fire.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen.
North Korean.
So since you were driving, Tony, and mainly,
Behaving all the street and laws in Massachusetts while I was getting home. Yes.
I figured you could more or less give your summary of pretty much the entire episode. Like, just give us your perspective.
So I saw this as a callback to what the Navy did, because boxing matches was quite the thing in the Navy. That's how the crewmates relieve stress during times of war. So that was a nice shout out to the U.S. military and boxing matches on there. A lot of it did get you. This is pushing the series along, so you're getting the backstory as a set. Like Ronald D. Moore is.
I say otherwise. It was a filler episode.
This one's a lot of these episodes we think it's filler, but
Scott's
like last
staying
episode,
after class for
filler.
detention.
Yeah. Last episode people thought was filler too, but Athena got her name. Mr. Hogan got his sack back, even though he lost an eye. So many things happened. Again, this was a setup. It's filling back on the old thing. So I actually liked it, although I misinterpreted Adama's speech at the end. After he gets pummeled and he says, "When you get into a ring,"
Yeah.
I didn't know how to take it, because I was trying to figure out, well, if he's trying to be nice to Tyrell, he really let him have it. So,
well, I think it was a lesson to them all about about them not listening to him about New Caprica and about how they had to own the risk that they took, and that they did it willingly, and that on a go forward basis, it's really nice to feel sorry for yourself and to go and do what feels good, right? But oh boy.
Oh, Jesus.
Right, Tommy? Just a bunch of degenerates on this panel. Like, it's just
right. We have the best chat ever.
Oh my god.
so bad.
Toxic Man says
I misinterpreted Kara's booty hanging out for 2 rounds.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh man. The Time Prophet says, "Don't mention testicles, this Sporking News podcast." Oh, God. Because he recently had his tubie snipped.
Yeah, that's so. At least Scuba Pete got what I was saying earlier. Yes. Oh, I fell over.
Who got them?
I fell over
snipped?
again. I love
Drew?
you, Scuba Pete.
Drew, who got him snipped? Because I got mine snipped like 11 years ago.
Oh, Sporking did about a week ago.
Oh, did he? Oh, wow.
Parrot Head, y'all need Jesus.
Yes.
If you are from the Pegasus Actual podcast, you know that is when Parrot Head feels that we have met the maximum of FM radio dirty talk.
Yeah, Father Christopher Miller is going to have to come in here and clean this whole thing.
Yes, Korean. We need Father Christopher Miller. He's going to have to come in here. He's going to have to come in here with the holy water, Jesus.
Oh,
seriously.
This place needs an exorcism.
Hey, we need Buddha, okay?
A whole lot of Jiffy Marker.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I need booty, but never
need booty.
Yeah. Oh man.
This is what I'm saying, Ensign Ricky. This is when Parrot Head is exactly.
Yeah, when Parrot Head is suggesting Jesus, it's gotten off the rails.
Yeah.
It is.
Dude, Jesus can make miracles, man.
Oh man, Kogi Pants says I'm Lysol wiping my screen. Oh my god! See, this is the fun that we have. I am so thankful again for you guys coming out. I really needed the laughs and oh my god, you guys have been so awesome, chat. I love this community, and I
Drew,
can't
stop lying.
I do. No, I
Stop
really
lying,
do.
man.
Fine. I'm never plugging your channel, you asshole.
I got hung up at work.
No.
I'm driving back, and I'm like, I typed in as I load up Pegasus Actual. I'm like, oh, Drew's late. And of course, do you guys know how hard it is to drive a Jeep Wrangler with a manual transmission while typing on a small Android phone?
I'm so glad you said manual transmission because I thought you were driving with something completely different. So the fact that manual transmission is impressive. I'm so happy that was the next thing that came out of your mouth, Tony.
Oh God! Oh, that was like last.
Well, no, I was driving with a driver's manual, learning to drive while I was going home. So,
well, there was last night. I was coming home from doing the talk show because, in case you folks didn't know, I do a talk show on Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on the Redline Radio channel. And I do a 2-hour talk show, and it's from downtown Cleveland. I actually drive into Cleveland to a studio to do that show. And, I drive back, and then when I get home, I jump on Bounding Live.
Wait, Drew.
Yes.
How do you touch the pedals in your car?
Yeah, I listen. I am an Asian midget, but that is for a fetish show, okay?
Nice.
But to get
Mark D with the C, manual shift, anti-theft.
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing. People are like,
dude, certainly today it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God! Oh, I love Wes's comment.
Fluid.
That's not a good comment.
That's good.
No, that's not good.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
No, that is not good.
But
Wes Moody's canceled.
Yes.
But oh God, Boxing Theory number 86. Boxy went to sleep hungry thanks to Kara stealing the hams. He got on the rotisserie for her booty augmentation surgery.
That's funny. That is genuinely funny. I love you, TMF.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. But yes, yesterday I was sitting there driving home from Cleveland. I'm trying to watch Bounding Live and interact with the stream. And I was doing the exact same thing Root Korean was doing with ours. So I respect it. Thank you.
I was trying to type, and I'm thinking to myself, this is just going to end badly. But as you guys are like referencing all these things, I'm like, I just need to be at my keyboard, but I wasn't.
No, it's all good. We're happy that you came on. I really am. And the same thing with Scott. And
what about me? What?
I'm very happy you came on, sir. Thank you.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
But
stop.
Oh, it's awesome seeing somebody else on. I don't get to be the new guy anymore.
But
who's the new guy?
You are, Scott.
Roof Korean, I see you all over the place, man.
Yeah, but you're like on the panel now.
Roof Korean's had 3 appearances now, so he's not new anymore.
Yeah, my IMDb page isn't quite where I want it to be, but I'm getting it out to my agent and slowly making my way back.
Hey, I'm on here a second time.
Scuba Pete!
What? I'm seriously craving a ham sandwich. Come out there. Oh, that's good.
Man, Mark D would have seen said, "We access protects toxic man flu in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. He commands you to stop."
Where's Father Christopher?
We need Father Christopher. Yes, we need Father Christopher Miller.
Yeah.
All right, so we will go around the horn. We'll let everybody give a score to the episode and also plug their channels and what they're doing. And we will start with Scott, aka Just a Normie.
I'm just a normie. I'm Scott. My channel, you can find it. It's under Just a Normie. I have a new logo thanks to Fat Steven Seagal. He put the man in the middle and stuff. Totally, you know. So, but I've been working with 32 flavors of
Nick
Weiser and stuff. I'm going to be on his panel permanently starting next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe it is. I think I'm not entirely sure what we're discussing. Oh, we're discussing Amazon's Invincible, I think it is. I think that's what it is. I think I might be wrong on the name and stuff, but it's an animated comic book, I believe. It looks like animated to me, but yeah. But what do I know? I'm just a normie. I've gotten episodes that come out every Wednesday that I am doing a villain of the week from the TV show Gotham. I do a lot of commentary on my channels on different things. I give my perspective. I'm reviewing Lois and Clark. I'm also doing Falcon and Winter Soldier and stuff like that. I just ended with WandaVision. I am almost to 100 subs too, people. Yeah. So if you can, smash my sub button. But other than that, I you know what? I've got to say, while I've been on here, the community has been so awesome, and I just love all of you and stuff. And all the streams that I have been on recently and stuff like that with so many other people, dude, it's just been really remarkable. And the shout outs and the comments, the likes, people liking a lot more of my content now and stuff like that. I've been really appreciative. It's slowing down a little bit because I got back to work and stuff, which I'm really grateful and stuff, because I was pretty much unemployed for almost the entire year due to you know what. And so I'm trying to balance all that. And so, yeah. But thank you all. You guys have all been really wonderful, and I really love you all. And stay safe. Keep your mental health healthy. And if you ever need anything, please reach out to me and stuff. I'm here for anybody, no matter if I know you or not, man.
All right. Well, thank you again for being on, Scott. And we appreciate you. Make sure that you sub to check out Just Another Normie's channel. And we will move over to Roof Korean.
Well, thanks for having me on the show, guys. Considering I was late. I'm Roof Korean is John Galt, and I don't have much going on my channel at all. Maybe that will change once work slows down and I run out of content watching all these other wonderful creators.
Hey, Roof Korean?
Yes.
I forgot to give a rating. I give it a 4.5. Okay, go ahead.
This episode out of 5 or out of 10?
It's always out of 10.
Yeah,
that's okay. 4.5.
Well, I'm gonna go with a 6, but I'm gonna need to rewatch this now. Going with Raquel's insight, I'm gonna have to look at this differently. So
my apologies for cutting you off. It was all Bright's fault.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't screaming the mixer wasn't whacked or anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'll give it a 7, and I will give the floor back to all these wonderful people. Sub to all of them. There is endless content from these creators. Please just check them all out, watch them, and enjoy.
Yeah, and also make sure that you sub to Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective. Tommy is the best mod in our community. One of the most solid people on YouTube. Also, my friend Wes Moody from the Wes Moody Webcast. Want to give him a shout out. Make sure everybody checks out his content. And of course, I know there's a lot of different creators in this chat. Time Prophet and also Ensign Ricky, a bunch of other people in our chat. So make sure that you check all of these wonderful folks out. And yeah, also big shout out to Toxic Man Flu for being a great moderator. And speaking of that, before we let Raquel talk about her projects, hey, we got another Boxy Theory. Boxy Theory number need Jesus. Having an early appointment, Boxy woke at the crack of Kara and wondered how we got in the pilot's.
Exactly, TMF, exactly.
Starbucks, are those
Crack
two
of
hands in
Kara.
your pocket? Are you just happy to see me?
Oh, Jesus. All right, Raquel, try to seriously talk about your stuff.
Okay, so here's the deal. This show has never shied away from talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's very obvious that there were people who went about the business of investigating PTSD before it was something that we commonly talked about, before it was awash on social media. And so it's very daring to talk about PTSD, and it's even more daring to show PTSD. And so when we venture into that territory, it deserves respect. And it's very obvious that the writers of this show, Ronald D. Moore's team, wanted to make sure that we understood that all of these things that have happened to these people have had an accumulative effect. And it's been violent and has had a profound effect on their psyches and on their lives. And so I think that if we would have moved on without addressing that it wouldn't have, we wouldn't, and the characters wouldn't be afforded the outlet of resolution. We wouldn't get to see them overcome this PTSD, or at least come to grips with the fact that they're going to have to live with this shadow over them for the rest of their lives. So to turn it into something like pugilism or even pancration, I think was brilliant, especially because, as Riv Kareem said, that's something that that is used in the military, and it certainly was used in ancient Greece, and that is where you get MMA from. MMA comes from pancration. So I think that this episode was important because it shows that the authors care about resolving this unresolved stuff there, and they get us so deeply invested in these characters that had they not provided us with something gritty and violent like this, we would start to question the sincerity of them using PTSD within this show. And I think that behind the scenes, they deeply cared about PTSD before it was popular, and I think that this episode is evocative of that. So I think that it was a little quick and dirty. I think that they probably would have liked to have spread this over 2 episodes. But imagine trying to do that. Imagine trying to move along the timeline in 2 or 3 different places, create this overarching idea that Adam is trying to show them that they can't show weakness and that they can't wallow in it, and also address all of these personal stories that were soul destroying. So for that, I think it's very brave. I think it's tidy writing, and I think we needed it in order to stay sincere and attached to the storyline. So given that, like I said, it's a little quick and dirty, but I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And with that said, I would just like to thank Drew Taylor for having us all on the Pegasus Actual podcast this evening. I would love to thank the mods. I love the mods on this show, especially TMF. TMF, you are the sunshine in almost every chat. You build community, and you are a very clever and wonderful person to have around. I love your comedy, and you are the king of puns. And my husband and I sit around laughing at just how hysterical some of your puns are. So, yeah. And thanks to the rest of the chat. So many of you showed up tonight to show your respect for Drew and send your love and your regards to his mom. And you're a testament to the nerd and geek communities. And I love you guys so much for that. You can find my published nonfiction at academia.edu. That's a lot of published stuff that deals with communications and technology. academic textbook stuff. But if you're not into that, you can find my science fiction under RM Briggs at Amazon.com. So on any Amazon store around the world, you can also find it on your Kindle device. If you enjoyed spending time with me tonight, I want you all to know that I'm also on a show called, I'm on a channel called Clobberin' Times. And it's owned by a genius comic book store owner, previous comic book store owner, who has, I don't know, more than 50 years experience in comic books. And we have a show together called Saturday Night Star Trek. And so I invite you to hop on over to Clobberin' Times and please sub the channel and feel free to come and join our wonderful community on Saturday Night Star Trek on Clobberin' Times. And that's all I have to say.
Oh, well, it goes without saying, I am thankful to all the folks in the chat. I'm also thankful to our great panel tonight, Justin Normie, Scott, Ruth Korean, and of course, Raquel, who's here almost every week when she can be. And it's, it goes without saying that, I am very fortunate to know the people I do in this community, to have fostered so many great relationships among people. And I'm glad that every Thursday you guys can come in and we can have fun together and talk about when there was something on television worth watching, worth discussing.
Yes.
And, that means so much to me. Bruce Lombardo, hail to you, sir. Very good to see you. Bruce is another wonderful friend that I've made in this community, and he's also criminally undersubbed. I urge you to check out his channel. And also, as far as this episode goes, I think that, and this was a favorite of mine, so based on that, I will give it an 8, although probably if I was being super objective, I would give it more around a 7, but it's going to get an 8 for me because I told you I was going to show for this episode. I liked the boxing parts. I liked, I was unapologetically a Lee and Kara back in the days. I was a Lee and Kara shipper, and that was the way I looked at it. I mean, that was my favorite it couple of the show. So, I'm not mad that they kind of, got back together. Although I'm not a fan of the fact that it's a relationship based on marriage infidelities by both of them. But, hey, they got back together. I was pretty happy about it. So, another great moment I liked in the episode was Adama and Rosalind smoking a doob. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
There was some interesting stuff in this episode, but a lot of stuff that I liked. So, I give this one an 8. And this actually, if you look on my channel, guys, there is I got into years ago. I got into back when the show was actually on air the first time. I got into making like fan music videos, and I made a music video with a number of bits of footage from the entire series. But there's clips specifically from this episode that you can see in there. So if you watch on my channel the Kill Switch Engage End of Heartache Lee Kara video I did. It's from years ago, so the editing is a bit dated and things like that, but it's still pretty good. And volume warning so that nobody gets their ears blown off. Watch it at probably about 60% volume. So, but you can always catch Pegasus Actual Podcast on Thursdays. Of course, I write for Bounding Into Comics. You can catch Bounding live on Wednesdays. Also, my new talk show on Redline Radio, 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday evenings on the Redline Radio LLC YouTube channel. And, I look forward to seeing you guys around the community this weekend. And one big project I do want to plug, and I urge you, please, if you can, stop by Sunday I will post the time the day before. I think we're going to do it probably around 6 p.m. Sunday evening. I am doing a stream about violence in the Asian community. We are going to have an all Asian panel. Geeky Pixie is going to be on there. OG Star Wars is going to be on there. Donald Edmonds, Spencer Bakuli from Bounding Into Comics. My colleagues are going to be on there. And I also have reached out to a couple of guests that I'm waiting to hear back from. I should be hearing back from probably tomorrow or the next day to confirm. So, you've got 5 great people on that panel already and hoping for more. And the subject matter is going to be fascinating. And it's definitely a worthwhile topic because I know as an Asian person myself, I am very passionate about our community being used as a political device. And I dislike that very much. And we are going to give our thoughts on the entirety of it because every person on that panel has Asian heritage in some form or fashion, and we're going to discuss it. So please do catch that stream Sunday. And other than that, have a wonderful and safe weekend. And thank you again, my friends. I do appreciate you. Love you much.
So say we all. And
So
sorry
say
for
we
the
all.
sorry for the
So
bad,
say we all.
poorly timed giggle. But I loved that TMF asked you if you were going to shill Kara's canned hams. It was just poorly timed in the chat. But so say we all. And let's once again just send our love to your mom. And good luck on that very important stream for the Asian community. I know you will handle it as a professional broadcaster. You did go to college. It's not like you're an amateur here. So I think that everyone should be highly interested in the coverage and the guests that you will have on there. So good luck with that one, sweetheart.
Wait, yeah. Drew, you're Asian?
Yeah. Oh, go figure,
yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah.
And more moms up in the chat. I love this community. I love you guys so much. Mama's gonna love she's just gonna love all
I'm gonna
of
have to
wishes.
show her all this. Yeah.
Love you guys. Love you guys.
Yeah. Until next week, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and let's lift each other up. We got this. So I love you. See you next week. So say we all.
So say we all.